Tyler, are you there?
Yeah, I hear you. Scott, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. We're still getting started.
Too bad the weather didn't cooperate. I was hoping to see that little skiff you got.
Oh man, it was me too. But I'm glad we didn't do it. It was burly out.
Yeah.
We got our tail ends kicked by high winds this week.
Right. Sorry about earlier too, by the way.
Oh, no worries, man. I mean, it's my bad. I think you handled it really well. I just moving too fast like usual.
You just know I got your back, brother.
Yeah, right back at you.
Yeah, true. I like that shirt, by the way. The collar there.
Star Trek.
Yeah, right. That looks cool.
Design shirt. It's a little bit hot for this scenario, actually.
It wouldn't take much to turn him into a Klingon.
There you go. Reporting for duty, sir. Oh, he's going in and out. This is about the RCV and starboating and all that, right?
This one's actually just candidates.
Oh, okay.
That's Tuesday. You're talking about Tuesday.
Okay, that's right.
Oh, which candidates do we have?
That was going to be my next question. Which candidates are there?
I saw Sarah Smith.
Is it a debate?
I don't know what it's.
I'm putting a post up. That's why I was asking.
No, it's not a debate. It's basically Tyler wants to promote the idea of how to run multiple candidates for Senate. It's an idea that I'm not sure if he shared with the body yet, but that's the majority of the focus. But also to just give a platform for the rest of us that are running, just to kind of introduce ourselves, and just a round table of just going around the circle and contributing ideas, and just kind of
Is there like a common theme at all? Do you know? You know?
You probably have to ask Tyler how he'd want to word that.
Yeah,
just how, yeah. But it's definitely not a debate.
Yeah. Okay.
Originally, it was a debate, but it's kind of changed tone a lot, and we've got people from from several races in now, and so we're going to talk about everything from splitting the vote to. I'll announce it all in a second, but the fact that the House of
Just trying to promote it on Facebook, so I was curious. So I can name it as.
Progressive Rule is probably the best. I mean, it's hard to describe. It's stuff that we haven't with before. Yeah.
Believe it, I had hair like that when I was in college. Man, I miss.
Did you ever complain about it? I find myself complaining about my hair every day.
I was going to say, I grow up to a certain length, man. I can't handle it.
I had it as long as Tyler's there. I miss.
Seems we always get a big influx of members to the Bernie Kratz page around voting time, eh?
Yeah, totally. 'Tis the season, as they say.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That time of year.
That time of year.
It's good to see, though.
Yeah, it is.
But with growth comes like the issues that we were dealing with earlier. You got people that come in with ideas and they just push and push and push, and you got others that are just kind of cranky, and it causes waves or ripples, I guess you'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Like Georgia was saying, we haven't really had that problem up until recently, where it's been, we've kind of been flying under the radar nationally, but now all of a sudden there's this big spotlight on the Northwest, and Bernie Kratz are doing this, Bernie Kratz are doing that. I've been seeing it and hearing it in national programs and online and with the Facebook feeds,
Exactly. When you're dealing with human beings, I mean, there's every variation and every ideology, every perspective. And, the thing about, to not use this word lightly, a democracy,
Yeah, well,
it can get, kind of hairy in there. Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. That's what we're striving for, ultimately, right?
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, we are.
It almost feels like we're having to reinstitute it instead of us fighting for it or defending it. We're fighting to reinstate democracy and take it away from the oligarchs.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening. I have my lab pit on her back. I'm in bed because I'm not feeling well.
Yeah, I
She
saw
came
your
up next to
post.
me.
Yeah,
She's,
man.
but what's funny is she is demanding my attention. She's wiggling. She's on her back, throwing her legs and her arms and her legs up around, as you can hear her.
Uh-huh.
I hope she's ow. She's kicking me. Okay, Jenna.
Hopefully
Okay,
my
be
cat
quiet.
doesn't get up here and start pressing buttons on the keyboard or something. She likes
Oh,
to.
that is their favorite thing to do. I have a keyboard that's totally broken from that.
Oh, Washington. That's awesome.
I'm gonna silence me for a minute. I'll be back in a minute.
Here's my little girl, my little lab pit right here.
Oh,
Oh, what a lover.
Say hi. Say hi, Dharma. Say hi. Say hi to Brian and
Oh my
Tim.
God,
Hi.
she's
Oh,
so
yeah.
there you go. And a
gorgeous.
fist for daddy.
I think, oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Come here. Then we got her sister right here. This one's a Kelpie.
Oh, look at those ears.
Australian cattle.
Beautiful.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Some pretty girls.
That one's a devil woman. Dharma's a sweet.
As Dharma would be, right? The name itself.
Monka? Monka? Manka? Is that how you pronounce it? Oh, Governor Jay Inslee endorses her.
Endorses who?
Monka Dingra.
Oh, I've never heard of her.
She's for state senate, 45th LD.
Really?
Governor Jay Inslee. Bob Ferguson.
Interesting. How progressive, I wonder, is she? If he
Yeah,
endorses her.
doesn't seem very. Those are just her endorsements, though. Lots of establishment people. Holy moly. Yeah.
So there's not another, but that's coming in 2018 as well, correct?
Yeah. For state senate, she might be Gigi's competition. I don't know. She's got
State
Patty
Senate?
Murray's endorsed. No, it's
Oh,
not.
because
Yeah, state senate. That's what her website's saying.
so, but that wouldn't be federal though.
Probably not. Probably for House Senate. 45th LD, Democrat.
I thought that was every 4 years. Because I just ran last year for LD2.
What is? Rhonda will know more. She's the one that posted it.
Oh, okay.
She'll be back in a minute.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go get my charger.
I just
Yeah,
fired
you
up
want
her
to check
website.
those because you get endorsements from neoliberals like that, and that's almost the kiss of death with progressives. So,
Right. I
wow.
wouldn't, because there's a thing for her right now on Bernie-crats to endorse her, and I would say no. And there's.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today, but I thought that we vetted
6 hours.
the neolibs out. So I don't know.
I don't remember her
usually go
name
with what.
coming through.
Yeah, it was
You?
earlier today, I think.
Yeah, it was 6 hours ago.
Oh, it came through today?
Yeah, she's asking for endorsement.
Huh. You either have the neo-lib endorsement or the progressive endorsement. You can't have both.
Right.
Yeah,
Sucks
that
to
kind
have
of
to label
defeats
like
the purpose,
that in the
doesn't
beginning.
it?
to begin with. Even Tyler says he wavers because she seems centrist and far from a Bernie-crat. Still want her to win though, because she's a Dem. Maybe she's going against a Republican.
Yeah, but I mean, we all know that it really doesn't matter. They're all really the same
If
party.
there's no Bernie-crat running though, it makes it like lesser of two evils, is what it sucks about the whole thing, for us at least.
Yeah. I hate that sentence.
But that's what it works out.
Me
In this district, you want to go with the lesser of the evil, and that's what it looks like. Unless Rhonda has something else to say about it.
Well, are they establishment?
That's what it seems. She's got, from her website, she's got endorsements from Governor Inslee and Patty Murray and Bob Ferguson.
About?
You know what I would say
Malcolm
is
Ingram.
why would we choose if there's no choice for us to choose? Like if there's not a progressive choice, there is no choice. I feel like we need to lead the way in regard to opting out of choosing the quote unquote proverbial lesser evil.
I don't
If
know
it's
if that's
evil at all, I think we opt out.
I don't know much about that race, though, is the thing. So that's why I said Rhonda would know more.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that race. She had Monka, right?
Yeah.
She had put in her endorsement form, her form, and had put it in there, and she was supposed to do a interview of some sort, and didn't come through. Tyler was trying to set that up. Basically, I think we're just throwing it out there to see what people think. Do one thing or another, so we can discuss it for sure, and we don't have to endorse. I mean, we don't have to.
Well, we've got from the page there. Hang on, I got something going on.
There were people that did like her.
Like who?
I'll have to look back. When I first posted her information, there were people on there talking. So it's in the Washington, probably local or Washington Bernie-crats. It should be posted in both places, but I think the main conversations in Washington Bernie-crats, where people were talking about getting behind her, but I don't remember what was all said and why. So I'll have to go back and take a look at that for sure. Is Tyler still waiting on things to get going there?
I think so, yeah. I'm going to go grab my charger. I'm at 4%.
Sorry about that, kids.
It's okay.
So, what
I
was?
just changed mine to abstain until we find out more about her. I have to go with Tamberlane. If they're not a progressive, if they're another neo-lib, we're just feeding the beast.
Right.
I know you don't want lesser two evils, but we can't keep this up because we're just giving the enemy, who are the neoliberals in our state, power. We can't do it.
Yeah, I'll go and do mine. I don't remember if I voted or not. If so, I'll do mine as abstain for now as well.
I thought you were Rick Oz.
Yeah. Where is it? There she is. Yeah, I'll switch it to abstain.
Yeah, I think we need to get some more info on that one. For
Yeah.
sure.
All right.
It seems like she's just pandering to big business and her vision.
Okay. Yeah, I know that we were wanting to get an interview with her to talk to her about some stuff.
Like, I just think of Boeing when I see her. She's just trying to go, "Hey, Boeing, vote for B. Come on, Union."
Okay.
You know, that's what I see.
That's not good.
All right, I don't have any speaker volume yet, so does anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear you.
Hi, Jeremy.
What's
Hey,
up,
Tam.
dude?
I didn't say hi to you. Hey, Tam.
Hey, Rhonda.
There's Tyler's face again.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we hear you.
Thank you. Tyler's gone mobile.
Isn't he always though?
Conversation.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Tyler,
How's
do
it
you think I
been
have
there,
a couple
Tyler?
minutes?
Yeah.
Tyler?
Oh, he's frozen.
I just, if he comes back, why don't I just tell him I had to go make some tea and I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll let him know. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Whoever.
Tyler, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm talking to somebody else. I'll be right with you.
Oh, okay. Thought he was talking to us.
Trying to put names and faces together. I don't think I've gotten to meet Oz, Brian, or Rhonda face to face at any point. Tyler, I've spoken to by Skype before.
Oh, I'm Rhonda Walker.
Hi, Jeremy Tootin. I don't think we've met.
I'm
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, Brian Cheeseman
Please, man.
is
Yeah.
Rhonda Fave. Oh, Jay Smith. I'm wondering if that's Sarah or both of them joining us. Yay. I thought Sarah would be possibly at the event. I'm not sure who's on the phone, though.
Something's gone very quiet. I wonder if I've lost my sound connection.
No, you're good.
All right. I'm going to go on mute just to make sure I don't interrupt anybody until it's worth me speaking here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. Actually, one thing, I saw that interview with you and Austin on for politics and stuff. That was a great interview, dude. I really like some of the points that you made on there.
I heard it a lot. We plan on doing some more. I also have managed to pick up better microphones, so I won't sound like crap on the next one. Like I'm using the same laptop at the moment, but I've got a couple better mics that I bought. I just haven't had a chance to test them. I was supposed to be home by now. I'm actually on the road between Idaho and Tri-Cities. We managed to stop outside of Spokane at my parents' house. So this is my Spokane office. My parents live outside of Cheney, Washington.
Oh, wow.
So we're here for my wife to feed our newborn and for us to have dinner and for me get to do a video conference.
Cool.
Stuff that I want to talk about, but what we're really here to do is to get to know you folks. So
We've got Austin on the line.
start with a lightning round of who you are and what you're running for. And this is going to double as a tag-in piece so that you can broadcast it.
Kind of wish I was there, man.
I know. I would be if I didn't have the kids' basketball games today. They were in Oregon too, so there was no way I was going to make it up this time.
We're just broke, man.
But it's good that we have this here, though.
My name is Ann Heitkemper,
Okay.
and I'm running for Olympia School Board District 4. I am a biology instructor at our local community college, South Puget Sound Community College. I'm really running to promote neighborhood schools, which build community. I am trying to get more high school graduation to trade programs going because we need trades in our community statewide. I'm also trying to get a better connection between high school and college so we have a better transition. Thank you.
My name is Chelsea Rustad, and I'm running for Tumwater City Council, position 5. The general election is November 7th, so that's this year as well. I'm a member of the Socialist Party USA, and I'm running for this position because I was saddened to see that there is a severe drought of socialist candidates on the ticket who are explicitly anti-capitalist, who are in favor of radical inclusive solutions, expanding the conversation when we talk about real permanent solutions for homelessness issues, for bringing living wages to every resident of Tumwater, and also talking about access to healthcare for people who are uninsured or underinsured. I think we can do more to find equitable solutions for everyone in the city. So those are just a few of the issues that are important to me. And ballots are out now. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Gigi Ferguson. I'm running in 2018 campaign for U.S. Senate against Maria Cantwell. I'm running because we need someone who represents the people. We need someone who cares about what happens to the people and is not a corporatist and has not been bought out by corporations. I am strongly in favor of single-payer health care. We have a system using single-payer already through our wonderful military and our VA, and it works. I know it works because I'm the wife of a Vietnam veteran, the mother of an Iraqi veteran, the daughter of a veteran, and I have a son currently serving in South Korea. I'm concerned because Senator Cantwell voted against lowering the price of medication when I have done feeding in the streets and had people tell us we are angels because they were having to eat dog food and cat food in order to pay for their medications. To me, that's unacceptable. Senator Cantwell has also stated she is not for single payer. I know we can't do it at one time, but we can move in that direction. Homelessness, food, clothing, shelter is major. And that happens when we have pay as a minimum of $15 an hour now. Social Security benefits need to be based on today and not years ago. Thank you.
Everybody will get time
See,
Of
Sarah
course.
is there.
My name is Sarah Smith. I'm actually running for Congress in Washington State's 9th District. I am running because we're long overdue for a progressive voice. We've had 20 years waiting for our representative to step up and be a leader. And after 20 years of not seeing that kind of leadership and the kind of leadership that we should be seeing in our district, it's time for change. And so I'm running because we need bold progressive change for people that are not beholden to the war industry, people that are not taking corporate money, people that are only bound to the residents of the district that they're supposed to serve. So I'm excited to be here today.
There's
Okay.
Peter.
Okay. So, well, tell me when I talk. Okay. Hi, my name is Peter Harrison. I'm running for Congress in Jamie Herrera Butler's district, the 3rd Congressional District in Southwest Washington. I'm running because I care about healthcare. I would like to move us towards a single-payer system. I think it's something we can do over 5 or so years. I think that we need to address climate change. I'm a biologist and chemist, and I know climate change is real. And it's time that our Congress started taking science realistically instead of denying things that are facts and laying off scientists to replace them with government industry representatives. I'm working on replacing Jamie because she does not represent Southwest Washington's views or Southwest Washington's people, let alone help our community grow or help those of us who are not doing well do better. We need to pay it forward. We need to invest in our future. We need to build a country our children can be proud of. And that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robert Hunziker. I'm running for Congress in the 8th Congressional District. I am currently running because I am tired of corporations owning us and our policies. I've been an activist with Wolfpack and other organizations to end corporate financing of elections and get them to be publicly financed. So that way people get represented for people, not by corporations. I also don't believe we can address a progressive agenda such as Medicare for all, such as $15 minimum wage everywhere without a lot of resistance until we get that corporate money out. They fund so much against what we want. And that's what
Hello, my name is Clay Johnson, and I'm running for U.S. Senate 2018 versus Maria Cantwell. I've earned 2 degrees in IT, and I'm currently working on a plan to redevelop the old Olympia Brewery District. I'm running on a platform that consists of 5 major topics: tax reform, universal health care, education, sustainable energy, and transparency. If I believe we can accomplish any one of those goals, it will be a successful candidacy. I'm running in 2018. My website is www.herecomesjohnson.com. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dave Strider. I am an independent running for the U.S. Congress. My opponent, Maria Cantwell, has got to go. I believe that single payer is as easy as your social security number. All you have to do, IT specialists like this here, is to interface and tie those in with the different pathways and the different instructions to get that in there. Everything would have security, but it's as easy as your social security number. And don't let anyone tell you that you cannot have universal health care. You are not going to pay for mine. I'm not going to pay for yours. You're not going to pay for mine or hers. That is the thing that you need to start to understand. We have the money to do an infrastructure bill that will put America back to work. I believe that we can do that. I am a United States Marine Corps veteran. I worked in the Judge Advocate General's office. And I know that things can be changed. I took on the government in 1978 and I won. You want to know how? Ask me. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening. My name is Yana G. Cook, and I'm running for Fire Commissioner in South Pierce County because I am a concerned citizen, because I care about my community, and I care about the firefighters. More on what I'm running about later. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tom Kramer, and I want to tell you why I'm running for Congress. I'm running for Congress to get higher pay for regular people. For 37 years, we've had trickle-down economics in the country, and the middle class has had no raise in 37 years. That's not a free market. It's not fair. It's not just. And we can change this. If I'm elected to Congress, I'll work to change Federal Reserve policy. Congress directs the Federal Reserve. They also direct federal budget policy. They determine trickle-down economics. We've been working on that theory, and the middle class has had no increase in income for 37 years other than inflation. Now, that's not fair, not just, and we can change it. When I was a kid, we were lower income, low class, and the Democrats came into power with JFK, with Johnson, made the union strong. My father got a 40-hour week. We got a house, we got a car, and I got to go away to college. We can change it. That's one example. That's what the Democratic Party is here for, regular people. Thank you for listening. Am I the last one? Okay.
Not exactly.
Actually, I'm running for office too.
Can I ask one question? Does somebody know about closing up and have a key and all that?
Nope, but I can talk to you right now.
Okay,
Okay. Hi, I'm Dorothy Gasgate, and I am running in Washington State Congressional District. So I'm running because I find politicians entirely too eager to integrate too much more, too reckless with our hatred and to load their lives blind. I'm an Iraq war veteran. I served as the only woman in otherwise all-male combat unit. The time when I'm allowed to serve in combat roles, that I would find myself doing combat patrols, mansion-based security, and all the worst days of my life. My son just turned 16, and we are still engaged in the same war 16 years later. I cannot understand how we're still in this place. It is time for Congress to take back that role. Take back the role of declaring war and peace, and to change our foreign policy so that we are focused on peace, not on perpetual war.
We have two that couldn't make it in. So Jeremy and Tambourine Morelli. Tambourine is sick and really wanted to be here. You guys can hear me out there. I'll have to put you on live in the room. Tambourine, can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep, I hear Tyler. I hear Tambourine.
Tyler, do you hear me okay? I don't think they can hear me.
I think Tyler's went out. I can hear you fine.
I can hear you.
So all of us that are on the Zoom can hear each other, but
People in the room are putting up a thumb on the video. I think they can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
okay, because Tyler, just so you know that all of us on Zoom, okay, now we could see the room. It was off before. Okay, thank you, and please bear with me. I'm not 100%, but my name is Tambourine Borelli. I am a National Bernie delegate who is running to represent the people of the 10th Congressional District. My opponent is the epitome of a corporatist Democrat, Denny Heck. I'm running because we do have a crisis in our country, and the crisis is that there's more than one. And, you know, some may say that the greatest crisis is Trump, but I think that we all know Trump is really just a symptom of the greater problem. And from my vantage point, our greatest crisis in this country is having a Congress that is actually paid to not listen to us, the people who put them in office. And I'm running to represent the people who are waiting for representation, who will fight to win. Medicare for all, debt-free education, expanding Social Security, protecting net neutrality, protecting and coming up with solutions to immigration and immigrants' rights, LGBTQ, AI rights, and creating solutions for our homeless, our forgotten homeless. And lastly, a green energy economy. Basically, nothing's ever going to change if we allow this pay-to-play system to continue, and it really can get worse if we don't rally behind progressive candidates, all of whom have gathered here tonight from the bottom up, local, city council races, port races, fire commissioner races, all the way up to congressional and Senate. So I, am always grateful to be included in these roundtables, and I'm committed to creating a government where being of, by, and for the people isn't just a cliche. So thank you for inviting me.
Cool. Jeremy, you have the floor.
Okay, so I'm off mute. Someone give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Anyone? All right, excellent. My name is Jeremy Tootin. I ran for U.S. Senate in 2016 and did not succeed in being top 2 in the primary. I plan on running again in 2018. I have an adapted strategy to try and get a broader appeal. In 2016, on an absolute shoestring budget, I got 3.4 votes for every dollar I spent, including the registration fee. The winner of that race, Senator Murray, spent about $10 million or $5.3 for every single vote she got. I've got my campaign webpage is still up. It needs to be updated. It's www.drjeremytootin.com. There's a Facebook of the same name. I did an hour-long interview with Austin Tucker a little while ago. That was pretty good. The shortest version of this is you'll notice that the Republicans and Democrats, but mostly the Democrats, are really hammering the independent voters, the 3% that didn't vote blue or red. But they're not saying a damn thing about any of the non-voters, about the 30% in every state that didn't bother turning out. And I think an absolute winning strategy for Washington State and for the rest of the country is we need to get those 30% of people who have completely given up on the system, who have been disillusioned, are sick of the lies, are sick of promises that absolutely never get followed through on, to the point where they've disengaged from voting entirely. I had conversations with independents. I had conversations with people who were dead set on voting for Trump. I had conversations with people who were absolute one-issue pro-life voters that didn't care about anything else. And by the end of each conversation, I at least got them to engage that it's not necessarily R versus D, that there can be other ways. There can be another path forward. That's the message that I'm fighting for. Every candidate that's spoken so far has talked about green energy, correcting the corporatists, removing money from government, from control of government, and I absolutely agree with all of those. I think the biggest problem we've had is the leaders that we have follow polls and give platitudes and then follow money and do what the money tells them to do. And people buy the platitudes or are turned off by them, and people ignore what the money does. And it's simply put here, we all agree that until we can get money out, nothing can really advance, but we can't get a person in who's not using money unless we actually have somebody who can lead, so we can present some new ideas. I applaud everybody who's come forward. I like Gigi. I spoke with her during the 2016 campaign when she was running for House instead of Senate. I'll love to take questions from anybody. The webpage has email. I can be found on Facebook. I'm on Twitter too, which is always fun. 140 characters to have a serious conversation. Thanks for having me this evening. I'm sorry I couldn't be in. I think I've got you all on mute, so I can't hear you.
Thanks, Jeremy. We lost your last couple of seconds, but we got you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so our time is limited, so we're never going to the amount that everybody wants to say, but there are a couple of things I'm coming in that need to be said. I've got Scott Staffney, who ran last year in CD2 on the line here, and he's hit me to this lawsuit that's going down in DC. And this group that appears to be in the right has or are proving that the Constitution actually demands that we have one representative for every 50,000 people. And it looks like they're going to be successful. It's being hush-hushed in a very, very big way. But you can imagine doing the math, what that would look like. Around this table, we have a bunch of people who are pitted against one another for 10 seats in Washington State. that would more than quadruple that number more or less overnight. And suddenly you have the ability to create a supermajority in Congress just by running people. And there's no way in all hell that anybody from the old paradigm can keep a majority. So if this goes through, I want everybody to remember that not if it in some form this will go through, but I really want to set the tone of this meeting with the very real possibility that we can put everybody at the table in a seat in Congress in the very near future. And so that, in my mind, has segued to this conversation about endorsements and how our first past the post system forces us to choose one out of many. And I've always been a proponent of multi-endorsements because I want all of you at the table. I don't want to have to endorse one candidate in every race and then work with a smaller team as a result. It makes a lot more sense to me to endorse everybody and ideally spread out amongst the races. So this is a complex conversation that doesn't go over well, and in our system is not very popular because it's counterproductive. But with the thought that it may change drastically in the future, and that this group, as it's assembled in cooperation rather than in competition, is much more powerful, I'd like to invite you all to consider shifting the paradigm forward into, rather than competing, cooperating. And I'll try not to take the floor too much. I would like to focus on the candidates. But I have a desire to lead a group with one volunteer from every campaign in the room, literally, everybody who self-identifies as a progressive, to make a massive splash in multimedia. But first of all, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just before I forget, I just was told that there might be another candidate on the phone here. I'm not sure who's on the phone.
It's probably, I likely will run again in CD1, and basically I think we're engaged in a genocide against the people.
Hold on one second.
Okay, sorry.
Hold on. Okay, so we have one more candidate on the phone. This also is Scott Stepney, who happens to be the person who knows about this lawsuit.
Right, I am a lawyer. I'm representing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Scott, you have the floor. The room can hear you.
So basically, I'll just give you a brief rundown what's going on. There is a case going on in California in which I'm the primary lawyer, and they are challenging the 120 limitation on the legislature, which was put into effect in 1862 and put into their constitution in 1879 to keep the power of the white males. And we are now before a district court down there, and we just had our first hearing on September 8th, and we're waiting to see if we get a 3-judge panel. The judge hasn't ruled for over a month. But more importantly, from what's going on with you folks, there is a case going on in Washington, D.C. And Jeremy, I talked to you a while ago about this. It's based on the fact that when the Bill of Rights actually were placed before the Congress, there were 12, not 10. The first one was one with dealt with representation. And basically, we have lost a lot of our historical documents because of the war with Britain, and they burned down a lot of they burned down the White House and our historical records, but they have been found. And so there is a group that are bringing an action before the district court in Washington, D.C., which has already appointed a 3-judge panel and had a scheduling conference yesterday. Now, the difference this would make, and I know most everybody, until they look at the historical documents, thinks it's crazy, but the difference it would make would be you would no longer have Paul Ryan as the speaker because the actual number of representatives would be over 6,200, and so you'd have to have a quorum of at least 3,200 to elect him. The net neutrality bill that got passed, they're challenging as being unconstitutional because it wasn't passed by a quorum of what should be the House of Representatives. Now, what we are doing, I'm talking with the group I represent in California, and I believe that they are either going to jump on board as it is either intervening or as an amicus. And it occurred to me when I was talking to Tyler about other things that it might be wise if a group of would-be Washington congressional candidates intervened or came on as an amicus too. I'm not looking for the work because I think I might have a conflict representing the people in California, but I'd be more than willing and happy to work with lawyers. If you guys could get one, I wouldn't spend a huge amount on it because it's been pretty well briefed, but I think it is something that you might well want to consider. And you got weeks, probably even months to do it. But they have moved through summary judgment. Our side has. And so I know there was someone with the Judge Advocate's Office who I assume is a lawyer. You can find that. It'll be on, right now it's on myacademia.edu website. You can find the complaint, the motion for summary judgment, and the exhibits supporting it. And it'll probably also be on, it's not a law firm, it's kind of an alternative to a law firm, Staffney Law Advocacy and Consulting, but I don't know when it'll be up there. But I think it's something that you would be wise to look at. And I don't think I can join it even necessarily as a political candidate, simply because I think then I might have a conflict of interest in representing the people in California. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Cool. Thank you, Scott.
Okay. Sounds like no one does. So it's all there if anyone wants to.
Oh, hold on a second. I think Tyler's.
Okay, Scott, can you tell us how we would get in touch with you about this?
Yeah, Tyler, just call me. Oh, you mean if somebody wanted to call me about it, sure, they can call me at the office. They ought to do their little bit of their homework first. I mean, the name of the book and this was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize and it's referred to a lot in the ongoing litigation. It's How Less is More, the story of the real First Amendment to the United States Constitution. You can buy it on Amazon. And the good thing is it actually has photographs of the original documents. What happened, there's two things that happened. One, not all of the first 13 states got back to the Congress. And so I think it was Massachusetts, Kentucky, and Georgia. Actually, they had to go to their state archives to show that this amendment was ratified. It becomes very interesting legally because if if the archivists say that it's ratified, there's really nothing the Supreme Court, Congress, nor the President can do about it. I mean, I can think of some theories, but under Article 5 of the Amendment Clause, it would be self-ratifying. So if you can show that it was ratified by 3/4 of the states at the time, it should automatically become a part of the Constitution.
Cool, thank you.
All righty. You guys have a great night, and I hope every one of you beat a Democrat or Republican, and we don't have either in there anymore. So thank you for your time.
Can you take 2 more, Scott?
Sure.
I'm
One
just
second.
trying to confirm. So what this says is that there has to be a representative for 250,000.
For 50,000. 1 for every 50,000 is what this group claims that the original Second Amendment said, and that will hold up in a court of.
No, it's the original First Amendment. It's Article the First, and here's how it read. There's 2 issues. One, there was a Scribner's error. So Article the First, as it appeared in the Bill of Rights, reads, after the first enumeration, or this is not as it read in the Bill of Rights, but this is with the Scribner's error. After the first enumeration required by the first article of the Constitution, there shall be 1 representative for every 30,000 until the number shall amount to 100, after which the proportion shall be so regulated by Congress that there shall not be less than 100 representatives, nor less than 1 representative for every 40,000 persons, until the number of representatives shall amount to 200, after which the portion shall be regulated by Congress, that there shall not be less than 200 representatives, nor more than 1 representative for every 50,000. And the reason for the title is the Scribner misplaced the less. When you read it the way it was actually ratified by the states, it makes no sense. And when you actually look at the original that came out of Congress, it had the correct words. That would be, after you reach 200 representatives, you have 1 in each state for every 50,000 persons. So for purposes of Washington, you'd have about 180 representatives in Congress.
Okay, one more question for you, Scott.
I was wondering if Scott's platform included recognition of unconstitutional practices.
Sorry, one more time.
I was wondering if Scott's platform included recognition of unconstitutional
She's asking if your platform deals with unconstitutional dealings with Native Americans.
Well, the lawsuit does. The lawsuit, I'm reading a book right now about how the Germans based their race laws on the United States and the American Indian genocide. It's written by Professor Whitman of it's the head of their comparative law department. So not really so much campaigning. My campaign, I truly believe we're engaged in a genocide. I think the single payer, you have to have it. I think what they're trying to do is kill people off through the housing, through the lack of health care, through the way they're dealing with drugs and the DEA. And when you look at some of the historical data, it appears that we have made country based on second-class citizenship. And so, but this is if I'm doing more in law. The main reason I'm running for Congress is because the legislature can control our courts, and I believe that the courts' systemic favoritism of the wealthy by our courts is what has caused our problem, and the only way to control our courts is through a legislature that is representative of the people. The courts are why we had our Civil War and why we've had a lot of our second-class citizenship for a long time. But what I'm talking to you guys about mainly now is just these lawsuits. And the one in California is really deals with those issues because under the 14th Amendment, the states lost a lot of their rights, and the question becomes, do you get to have second-class citizens? I mean, can you imagine 120 people representing 40 million people when that number was arrived at a time when California only had 400,000 people, and they were trying to get rid of the Chinese and the Asiatics. But this is all going on, and from my perspective, I think it would be helpful for you and helpful for the country if you started making a big deal out of representation, because we don't have enough, and the people will never be represented, and they'll never care about the people. If they have to worry about 50,000 voters, people can go knock on doors, and money can't buy all those votes. So if we can increase the number of representatives, I believe it's more likely that we can take back control of our country.
Okay, yeah, one more for you, Scott.
Scott, Dave Strider here in Washington State. The question earlier was about First People, Native treaties, and I look at, okay.
Again? Hello?
We can't hear.
Okay, I can hear now. What happened? You said it's about Native people and treaties, is what I heard. David, are you still there?
Tyler, we cannot hear. David got cut off a bit ago.
Okay.
One more time, David.
Bottom line is, I believe that the incursions upon Native sovereign territory is an act of war and should be treated as an act of war, and those who have committed that act of war need to be held as war criminals. Period. We gave
I believe that people, there should be, I agree with you about the war criminals and in looking into bringing action in international courts, but not just with regard to the Indians, with regard to the homelessness and with regard to, I mean, for every person who gets kicked out of their home and stays there, they lose 30 years off their life expectancy. I have people that die right away. I mean, we need to be looking a lot more clearly at what's going on, I think. I think we're engaged in an ongoing genocide against the American people by its government. But, you know, and I've been dealing with this for about 10 years now on the foreclosure stuff, and now I am getting very deeply into the Indians, the Native American stuff, and I've been contracted by some tribal courts, but I don't know very much about this particular one. I'm not sure I even I agree that it's a court, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm not, but that's the one thing Hitler looked at. He looked at the way we got rid of the Indians. We took them from hundreds, we took them from millions down to hundreds of thousands, and then maintained them, what he said, in cages. And that's what he followed.
Okay, we got to move on. Thank you, Scott. Really appreciate your time, and I'll be in touch. And anybody here who wants to help pursue this, I can be the liaison to Scott's campaign.
Right, and what I'm saying is, you guys should get a lawyer if you're interested. You should take your congressional candidates, and let me tell you who the defendants are. Every single state governor and executive branch member is a defendant, as is every single state legislator. So everybody who is in Washington state as a legislator has been sued, and they're all defendants. Now, we don't know if some of them will actually want to have more representatives. I mean, it'd be a big change in the gaming field, and Trump may even want more representatives.
Scott,
Trump might think he can do better.
20 candidates in the room. We got to move on.
I got to go. Okay, talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Really appreciate it. Okay.
Tyler, we can't hear you guys. Tyler, can't hear.
It takes this to add to it. California is doing it, and it's happening in DC. We can do that. We can add Steve. I'll contact everybody solo about that, so we don't take all of this time about that. Just keep in mind that when we move forward, there is a new paradigm that we're moving into. Now we got to get back to the old paradigm. I want all of you at the table, even regardless of how the endorsements go down. Now we have to.
Tyler, somebody muted the camera or the.
Is you guys' audio now?
Yeah.
There we go. We can hear you now. You accidentally muted it, I think.
So we got to go back again and hear from the candidates. And this time, if everybody could please tell us very explicitly what race you're in. And we have to actually choose between you guys. So if you could differentiate yourselves from the others. We want to know what party you're running from. Are you the Green, a Progressive, Us Party, Progressive Democrat, or something else? And tell us what we need to know to be able to make that decision. It's a hard call. Right? Like, everybody in this movement likes every one of you guys. We all agree on 99% of the things, but we have to, in theory, I don't believe this, but everybody else believes that we have to choose between a lot of these people. So I got to get off the floor unless you guys speak. So it's going to be somewhat popcorn style, but let's go.
Start that way.
Start this way again? Okay.
No, that way. Mix it up.
No objections? Okay, so we're going to start on this side. And please be concise. Please, if you would be so kind as to point out the other people in your race, because everybody at the table and in the audience needs to, what's this? 3 minute time. Sure, I mean, I'm not going to, I hang it people off. So you could just,
so that we can get out of here tonight.
I'll time it. Well, be quick.
Tyler.
We got 2 from CDA, 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Tyler, can you hear me?
CDA. Okay, you'll go next. Okay, CDA. Go.
Okay, I got a 2-minute stump speech I'd like to give. Okay, and again, I'm running for higher pay for regular people. When I was a kid, my father was a union janitor, was low paid and worked 60 hours a week plus side jobs. My name is Tom Kramer, and I rarely saw him. When the Democrats came into power with the election of JFK, unions became strong. My father got a 40-hour work week, a living wage. I got to see my father. We got a house, a car, and I got to go away to college. We became part of the middle class. Along with higher pay comes time to spend with family and with your community. Become part of society and have respect and dignity. The money and time brings you more than material rewards. Now we have the highest rate of economic inequality since 1910, and it's getting worse. Almost 2/3 of regular people still believe we are in recession. We must increase the pay for regular people, stop the progression of economic inequality, and take support away from Donald Trump and the Republicans. In addition, I will lead the charge to end global warming, end the attacks on women's rights, LGBTQ rights, minority rights, voting rights, and provide Medicare for all. You and I will be leaders moving the people of the United States forward again. I'm running for the job of representing all the people. I will work hard, intelligently, and help all the people have the dignity and respect they deserve. And I'm doing everything I can to do that. Dave Reichert dropped out in the 8th Congressional District. Dino Rossi is the handpicked candidate by the Republican Party. And last week he raised $500,000. And that's what we're facing in this race. And Rossi is trying to characterize himself as being nonpartisan now. He's never been nonpartisan. He drove the Republican Party in the state of Washington to support Donald Trump, was an avid Donald Trump supporter, and is a multimillionaire commercial real estate developer, just like Donald Trump. He's our local version of Donald Trump that I'm running against in this district, that my colleagues are also running against in this district. And he has already gone on the attack against me. I've got support from all 50 states. People have written checks for me across the country. I've been a Democratic activist for 20 years. I helped get in liberal Democrats into Congress. We helped 22, my organization helped 20 that I founded, helped 22 progressive Democrats get into Congress and 4 into the Senate in the last 17 years. And we've still got a big uphill battle. Obviously, the Republicans, they own the Supreme Court, they own the House, the Senate, and 70% of the governor's seats, and over 75% of the legislatures in the country. And Democrats, Donald Trump won the middle class by a large margin in the last
Thanks, Tom.
race.
We got to move on then.
Okay. I'll let you go.
All right. So I'll try and be fast. But as I said before, my biggest problem with what we have now, why I'm throwing myself in the race, is campaign finance issues. I support the People's Platform. I support $15 minimum wage, not just for Washington, but for everywhere. I support healthcare as a human right. I support single payer. I also support the decriminalization of drugs and reallocating those resources to better serve everybody. And also, freeing up private prisons. I don't think we should have any private prisons. And there's so many progressive issues I think we need to tackle. But I think we won't be able to do it until the people who benefit from those systems, being as they are today, are not financing elections. And case in point, so I'm an independent, but I'm running as a Democrat. And the first thing I get asked whenever I go to Democratic groups locally is how much money have I raised? Not what my policies are, not where I stand, but that's the one thing I keep getting asked. And that's the only thing people find is viable. So I'm not taking any corporate money, either from PACs or anything. I've been offered some PAC money, but I have no interest in that, because I think the only way for us to get a progressive agenda accomplished is if we don't vote for people who take corporate money. We have to vote for people who stand up for what people want. And obviously we all have a similar alignment on our views. May not be 100% there, but roughly 80%, I would think. But once you get in the system, if you are being financed by those groups, it's very easy to be corrupted by those things. Because if 80% of your money comes from people who don't want you to vote that way, then you might think twice about voting, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so far, I haven't seen too many candidates who follow that. And most of the candidates, I don't know where they stand. I've been following the financing of my district pretty closely, and it's still somewhat ambiguous this early. But I know there's some big money even on that.
Those two are from CD8. That's something. Give me the geographical area real quick. Where's CD8?
It's pretty big. So it was no
where
kind of.
CD8 is.
So it's almost it's north of Sammamish quite a bit. It's east of the mountains just a little bit, and south of Puyallup, and almost all the way to Tacoma. But it hugs a little bit. So the ninth comes down and hugs a lot of the way down to Tacoma, and we hug that. So like parts of Issaquah are equal.
Yeah, the biggest city in the district is Auburn. Yes. Auburn is about 120,000 people now. And Sammamish, where Dino Rossi comes from, and most of the other candidates come from, by the way, is the richest part of the district by far. District is solid middle class. Median family income is $69,000 a year. In contrast, Bellevue is about $200,000. Sammamish is about $200,000 a year too. And the district doesn't have a lot of rich people, doesn't have a lot of poor people, solid middle class working people. I'm going to make sure everybody gets that. Let's go to CD3. Here we go.
Right, so Dorothy Gasquet running in CD3. Peter Harrison is one of my opponents here. The thing that I think really differentiates me from the others in the race would be that I have the grassroots base to begin with. I was the lead organizer for CD3 for the Bernie Sanders campaign on the grassroots side. So I built that base over the last 2 years, and we have been able to expand that base. We are getting national recognition. We just joined the Justice Democrat slate. We've also been picked up on the brand new Congress slate. So we're going to be able to do a lot more on the grassroots fundraising side than the other candidates will be able to. And that's really kind of what differentiates us. I mean, we're going to agree on platform, probably at least 95% of the time. Being part of the Justice Democrat slate and the brand new Congress slate means that, I'm signing on to the Bernie platform. And so that's just kind of really what differentiates us. I've built the trust and faith in the progressive community.
Let's go to the Gasquet CD3. Peter, would you go next?
Sure. So, like Dorothy, I'm running in the 3rd Congressional District against Jamie Herrera Butler. Tyler had asked for an idea of how large each district is and where it's at. The 3rd Congressional District snakes all the way up to the eastern end, or on its eastern end, up the Columbia River, past all the windmills that you go through, about 280 miles east if you're driving from Vancouver, and then it goes all the way to the northwest corner, past Raymond, all the way to the Pacific coast, another 200 some miles from Vancouver. So it's a huge district to drive from one side to the other. You can spend 6 hours getting from one side to the next. And that's one of the differences between Dorothy's platform and where I'm at. I agree we need to do things like single payer. I was born into a single payer system in Europe, in England. I believe that we need to address climate change. I'm a chemist and a biologist, and I can't see that we have a future unless we do. So there are important things that she and I agree on. We put them in different places on our list of priorities. But at the same time, I've been out to Klickitat. I've talked with farmers in the communities on the east side of the state. I've talked with people on the west side of the district about the problems they're having with fishing and things like that. Simple things like nobody's maintaining what they call pole dikes, which catch sediment as it moves down the Columbia River, and it clogs the way in and out of our ports and bays. Connection to the people in our district is an important issue. My wife grew up here, was born in Cowlitz County and spent her childhood there. We met in California and came back to this community because we love it. We have family here. We have family members in Pacific, in Cowlitz, and Clark County. My parents and my sister came here because they love this community, this place that is Southwest Washington. Those connections to our community are things that make us very different. Myself from the other two Democratic candidates. I've been here for almost 20 years. I'll make it a better district. That's my job. And I have one voter over there.
Cascade and Peter Harrison. Sarah, you want to go next? It's your.
So my name's Sarah Smith. I'm running in the 9th district for Washington against Adam Smith. There's no relation. It's just a very common last name, unfortunately for me. But I can thank my husband. So I'm running because I've been a progressive my whole life. That's what I was raised to believe in. I was raised to believe in a single payer system, not universal health care, not access, single payer health care. I was raised in a house that believes in science. We recognize climate change is an important thing. Climate change is something we need to fight. I was raised by parents that are staunchly in favor of publicly funded, tuition-free access to colleges, to technical schools, to job training. Education is really important to me. And that's one of the things that I hope to make very clear is I'm a very strong advocate for good education systems and people that have the ability to go to school without getting drowned under an average of $37,752 after they get out, just because they wanted to better their lives. So I'm running because I'm extremely different from my candidate on a lot of levels. He's been a self-described moderate for 20 years, hasn't put forth any kind of bold legislation until very recently, the last month. He doesn't take a stand on anything. And the fact is that the 9th district is a progressive district that's always in flux. We're always changing. We have a really strong progressive community. We have a strong activist community. We need a strong voice in Congress. We need someone that's not going to be afraid to take bold action. And one of the things that I was taught from an early age was if you need someone who can do it the right way, get up and do it yourself. And so that's why I want to run, because I don't want to wait 20 more years for our representation to decide that they're in favor of single-payer healthcare. I don't want to wait 20 more years. We don't have 20 more years to wait for action on climate change. I'm a strong advocate for women's rights, strong advocate for education. These are things that we've been parched for so long, representatives that are actually going to stand up and fight for them. And I have a lot of fight in me. You can ask my husband. I have a lot of fight in me, and I want to bring that with me to Congress, because that's what people in the 9th district deserve. They don't deserve to wait around 20 years for their representative to stand up for them. They deserve someone who's going to stand up from day one, and that's what I'm promising the 9th district that I'll do just by putting my name in the ring.
Sarah, where does your district run?
My district runs, it is a very interesting district. We encompass Mercer Island, Bellevue, we encompass most of Kent, all the way down to the North Port of Tacoma, including Federal Way, Renton, and South Seattle. And we're very snuggled up next to the 7th, and we're right in between the 8th. We're kind of like a wishbone shape around Lake Washington.
It's the most minority district in the state.
Yes.
Actually, it's about half minority.
Yes, it's considered, I think the colloquialism is a majority minority district.
Yeah,
is what we're called, the only one in the state.
It was designed as such. And, you know, I would.
Excuse me, I appreciate you talking, but we have candidates and it's their time. Thank you. Right.
Yes, thank you.
We'll do questions maybe at the very end. We can try to make time first. There's always not enough time. So let's go to, I'm saving locals for last, just so you'll get the floor. Ideally, most of the floor. I think the Senate is all that's left. Did I miss anybody besides senatorial candidates? Okay, left to right. Gigi, would you mind starting?
Let them go. I want first.
Got Dave.
Sure. Dave Strider. I already told you about how I feel about the single payer, the Social Security number. I receive all my health care through the VA. My wife, she receives CHAP VA. I don't I have Social Security, and I think that those rates, there's no cost of living. If you're on Social Security right now, what was your cost of living? Nothing, really, nothing. Education. Based on my discharge and my service rating ability, I had my student loan debt forgiven. And if you can do it for a veteran, and I'm thankful that they did, every one of the people that have been paying into the college at high interest rates, having their tax returns guaranteed, having their not being able to get the job that they want or the career that they want because of that student loan debt, we eliminate that. We can do that, ladies and gentlemen. We can do that. We are a sovereign nation. We are a sovereign nation. Remember that. Education, I just said about that. Military spending is out the roof. Dwight Eisenhower, Republican president, warned us as he was exiting his office as president, warned us about the military-industrial complex. And over the last 55 to 60 years, we have let it come and take over our nation. We are no longer considered around the world as a republic. We are considered an oligarchy, something that Bernie Sanders talked a lot about on his campaign in 2015 and 2016. We are a republic. We are not an empire. I propose that we bring our military back from all of these locations that they are around the world. Iran is a threat. Have you seen the military bases that we have around Iran? We have gone too far. We are a republic. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Rome was an empire, and Rome did not last. My family's been here 20 years. In 20 years, we'll be here 300 years. General Cornwallis surrendered at my grandmother's house. I am part of this American Revolution, and it is still going on. It is still going on, and the people sitting at this table tonight show you that it's still active. Immigration. My wife is an immigrant. Everybody says, well, how come it takes so long to get your wife here? You have to get your family here. I'll tell you why. Because it's racism in there. You cannot get people, Hispanic or Spanish-speaking people, in here as quickly as you can. There are a lot of people who fly into this nation and then they disappear. My wife and I went to Thailand. We had known each other for almost 8 years. 2012, we decided to tie the knot. 2013, I arrived in Bangkok, Thailand. We were married January. In latter part of June, first part of July, we filed for her visa. In October, she had her visa to come to the United States. We followed the rules. My wife is here. I'm living testimony that I know how to make the immigration system work. Agriculture. Okay, next person.
So I'm Clay Johnson. I'm running for U.S. Senate, and I do some work on the side for the Green Party South Puget Sound. I also work both with organizations like Just Housing, the Democratic Socialists of America, Party for Us, and others. I believe in providing solutions. And one question that I'm constantly asked, regardless of which idea I bring up, is how are you going to pay for it? These programs that we want, they're costing trillions of dollars. How are you going to pay for it? My solution to that is citizen allocated taxes. It's a way that allows citizens to spend up to 50% of the taxes that are collected from them on any government program that they choose, whether that's the military, education, healthcare, you name it, you should be able to put your taxes towards it. I believe, jumping off of what Steve was talking about earlier, one of the main problems that we have at the federal level is that there's only around 550 members of Congress. It's very easy to get to one of those people and have them influence the others that they know and work with daily. If we were to expand that to 500, to about 5,000, like Steve was saying, possibly more, that ability becomes so much more lessened. Becomes so lessened that it's almost infeasible to have somebody bought out by a pharmaceutical corporation interest, the NRA, any special interest, even if it's for a progressive special interest. Next is universal health care, and that's another sticking point. I believe that universal health care should cover everything, not just whether or not you're sick, but also your addictions, your mental health, everything that we require for being healthy as a society should be covered. And the only way we're going to pay for that is taking that initiative by ourselves. Our Congress members seem avidly against any sort of substantial health care reform. We can change that just by taking them out of the equation. If you want health care, go and pay for it. It's your money. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Gigi Ferguson. My website is ggforsenate.us. Making it simple, letting people know I'm about us, the people. To understand where I'm different, I think a lot of us believe in the same, have the same goals, the same ideas. The difference, I was born in the projects of Chicago with a midwife and my mother. I lost my mother to cancer before I was 7 years old. My 4 brothers and I were separated. I know it was poverty that caused us to lose my mother. So single-payer health care is very important to me. Family unity is important to me. I have attended public schools. I have attended Catholic schools. I came up in the 60s. I was in the busing program where they were sending Black children into the white schools. So I understand what's going on today and the issues that we're facing today. I lived through them in the 60s and the 70s. I also went to college and I played on golf scholarship. I had a golf coach from Arkansas. So I'll let you figure that one out for yourself and how it went through. But I tell you what, I made it through. I'm a fighter. I want to go to the Senate to fight for the people. I am a marriage and family therapist and a chemical dependency counselor. I have worked tirelessly in our community as a volunteer with families who have lost their children to our state. One of the issues, we need to deal with health care, we need to deal with mental health, and we need to deal with it not as a Band-Aid, but we need to get to the root of the issues. When we get to the root of the problems, then we can deal with the problems. And as long as we have people in office who, one, have never had to deal with being hungry, with being homeless, with not being able to have a place or know if they're going to school or if their parent is going to come home the next day, how are they going to represent us? If we have people in office who are millionaires and who are bought and paid for by millionaires and billionaires, how are we going to make changes? Look at me. I am an African-American woman. I have 4 brothers. I have 3 sons. I am sick and tired of having our Black men killed on the streets and no one taking responsibility for it. Part of that is the 13th Amendment, where the 13th Amendment says slavery is over unless you are convicted of a crime. Why are private prisons so popular? Because people are becoming slaves with convictions. We think the jobs are going overseas. Jobs are not going overseas. They are going into the private prisons. And we need to stop the prison system. We need to stop what is going on in America. And we need someone who's had boots on the ground and who understands what's going on to fight for us and get it stopped. I'm Jennifer Gigi Ferguson, running for U.S. Senate, and I thank you.
Thanks, Gigi. Jim, you're on.
Okay, so I'm not can people hear me? I saw heads move. I think people can hear me. Okay, so my name is Dr. Jeremy Tootin. I'm a PhD molecular biologist. I work at the National Lab in the Tri-Cities in Richland. I was raised outside of Spokane, Washington. I went to the University of Washington for my undergraduate degree, and now I live in the Tri-Cities. So I've lived in all 3 of the major metro centers of Washington State. I ran for office in 2016. I got mostly interested in and involved in politics beyond just a hobby, beyond just being an aware citizen. In 2013, the day I brought my son home from the hospital, my firstborn, was the day the federal government shut down over political gamesmanship. I figured that would be the siren call. That would be the point at which our government finally turned around. And things for the following 3 years progressively got worse. And more I dug into reading the why and the how. Every progressive candidate there knows that basically the gist is we have a House and a Senate that are majoritively millionaires. that the winner of the 2016 candidacy for Senate was the incumbent, who won on name recognition and the ability to spend $10 million of donor money buying votes. That system cannot be allowed to continue, but we also can't get that system changed with candidates who take that kind of money and promise to fix the system. You can't trust the guy's got his hand in a cookie jar to talk about cookie jar reform. Sorry about that. I ran in 2013 on an absolute shoestring budget on the premise that our government was designed to be citizen representation, that it was possible for a person running, keeping their day job and running part-time to get enough of their message out, to get enough support to get elected. I managed to prove that that is absolutely an unworkable system, that despite getting a fairly good turnout for the amount of money I was able to spend, for the amount of time I was able to spend, I didn't come anywhere near top 2 in the primary. What it comes down to this time around is I intend to spend more time. I intend to focus on not trying to convert blue no matter who, not trying to convert red no matter who, but focusing on specific issues that resonate across platforms, and specifically on voters who have been disenfranchised. They've either been chased out of voting, or they've been convinced their vote doesn't count, or they're just so sick of the system that we have that they've just surrendered. And that is the 30% bulk. That if in the last presidential election, the 30% or so in each state that stayed home had come out and voted for anyone, that person would have won the entire nation in a landslide. 48 out of 50 states did not vote was the strongest single block. That can't be allowed to continue if our democracy is going to survive. My webpage for the 2016 candidacy is drjeremytootin.com. It's still up. I need to update it. I'm on Twitter at drjeremytootin. I have Facebook, both personal and public accounts, and unfortunately I need to go help my wife finish breastfeeding our second child. So, well, yeah, help. In other words, I get to burp the kid because she did all the hard work. But I do have to go. Thank you all for having me this evening. Gotta take off here. All right there.
Okay, that was Jeremy Tootin running for Senate as well. Local candidates are all that's left, right? Did we get all the 2018 is covered? I'd like to request that questions be held for in person. Keep your questions and grab the people afterwards. We'll try and keep a little bit of time so we can do that right. We're not going to have time to fire questions at all the candidates, just the way it is. So local candidates are next. Start on this side with Ann. Would you please tell us about yourself?
Okay, once again, I am running for Olympia School Board District 4, and I wear many hats. I am a scientist. I have graduate degrees in applied microbiology and public health. I'm a teacher of 35 years in college, but also in middle school. I am an advocate for public health. So how do I compare with my opponents? Well, hey, I am a teacher. I know what it's like to be in the classroom. I know learning styles. I know what it takes to reach many different students from many walks of life. So my opponent says she wants bottom-up government. Well, if you want that, then you want a teacher on the school board. There are no teachers on the school board. I'm a scientist, so we all talk about the environment and our need to understand the significance of climate change. Well, the first place you do that is in education. So if you have me on the school board, then I will be an advocate for science education that is valid, that is evidence-based. And you have to watch that. You have to be a watchdog for climate science deniers, for people that believe in intelligent design. It's there. So it's important to get science folks on the school boards. I've been endorsed by the American Federation of Teachers, and I have been endorsed by 314 Action. I am the only person in Washington State that has been endorsed by this national organization that's trying to get scientists into public office.
Ann Egghammer. She's on your ballot right now if you're in this area.
Thank you. And my name is Chelsea Restad, and I'm running for Tumwater City Council, position 5. Earlier, the question was asked, who is my opponent? My opponent is Michael Althauser. And what is it that sets me apart from Michael? What I try to clarify when I am asked this question is that I didn't enter the race to run against Michael, but I believe that there are qualities that set me apart that are important to prioritize and will really make a difference in this race. So Michael identifies as a progressive Democrat. He mentioned that in the Olympian editorial board. I'm a member of the Socialist Party USA, and I believe it's really important to have a full range of representation in our candidates in Tumwater and throughout Thurston County in Washington State. So noticing the absence of socialist options for myself to vote for, I decided it was important for people to see their values represented on the ballot and to make that happen, and we've done that with this campaign. In addition, I do have several sole endorsements that I'm very proud to have earned in this campaign. One of those is Mimi Soltysik, the Socialist Party USA President of 2016. Kyle Taylor Lucas, former Tumwater City Council member. The Socialist Party USA National Action Committee. Our Revolution Washington, state level organization, Washington Berniecrats, and Equal Rights Washington. So I'm very proud to have those distinctions as well. In addition, one of the things that I feel sets me apart is my willingness and my passion for talking about subjects that I haven't heard brought into discussion when it comes to the local city council races. And by that I mean being an explicitly anti-capitalist, and everything that I talk about is the foundation of my campaign, is the foundation of my party. Capitalism is the crisis we are facing. Trump is a symptom, and socialism is the solution, as I see it. I talk about universal health care because people may say that's not necessarily something that a city council member can directly affect, but I believe that many of the city council members have higher ambitions, and it's important to know where they stand on this matter. They should be forming coalitions with organizations and like-minded officials to fight for universal health care for everyone in Washington. Very important to me because my dad has been diagnosed with stage 4 medullary thyroid cancer, and so it's not hypothetical for me. This is real life, and it's something I would never wish upon anyone. It's a priority and a huge campaign issue for me that I talk about frequently. I also believe it's important for me to set myself apart by talking about radical solutions. By that I mean we don't just need services in Tumwater for the homeless. We need to bring actual homelessness solutions by appropriating vacant lots and properties for use by the homeless in Tumwater immediately. So these are just a few things that are important to me. I appreciate this time tonight. Thank you.
Yes, that's Chelsea Restad. She's running in Tumwater. Okay, I believe Yana is. Anybody else? Close to Yana? Certainly not least.
Hi, my name is Yana G. Cook, and I'm running for Fire Commissioner in South Pierce County. And what began as an adventure really last year, becoming very involved and awakened by the Bernie and the whole election process last year, and I was a delegate for the state. When I found that after the 8th of November, that I felt called to participate on a grassroots level so that I could go to my neighbors and find out what their concerns were. And there was an opening and a call for a fire commissioner in my community. It's 140 square miles, and we only have 24 qualified EMTs, a couple of paramedics for 140 square miles. And so I did my investigation, and I do have an opponent, but I'm not running against anyone. I'm running for the firefighters, for the first responders, and for my community, because that's what matters in my heart, is to reach out. And I'm doing a grassroots campaign, knocking on doors with people, my neighbors, that have never had their doors knocked on for 50 years. And it's incredible. It enlightens my whole spirit, because because what they say up in the top of the Washington, D.C. is bunk, because people do care, and they care about the same things that we care about in this room. The values of family, the values of a good working wage, the values of all the things that we need in our communities. And they invite me into their homes, and they sit down and they tell me their concerns. And it's an absolute joy. 98% of everyone that I knock on their doors in this grassroots manner is excited that someone has come and asked about their concerns. That is what democracy is about. And I believe in really breathing life into this democracy of ours that has been ailing for some time now. So my website is electyonaghcook.org.com. And I'm running for fire commissioner in South Pierce. And I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Cool, thank you. I missed one person. Tambourine is on, and let me just get her queued up here. Tambourine is also in this district, CD10. I believe everything nearby is here. Tambourine, you're on?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Awesome. So again, I'm Tambourine Borelli. I am running for the 10th Congressional District against Congressman Denny Heck. And I'm just going to keep this really short, but really to the point. And basically, the first and foremost difference is that I am not a career politician. You know, I really am a recovering, apathetic non-voter who, like Jeremy recently was talking about, all the disenfranchised demographics of the electorate, all of those who just lost faith in the fact that we could actually have politicians that care about us, you know, the things that we want, and not just be fork-tongued and romance us during the election cycle and then forget our names the day after. I'm just going to, and I don't usually like to talk about the opponent. I usually like to say what I'm for, but for the sake of this particular question, I'm going to, because he's a sitting congressman, I can tell you how we differ by just running down the things that he actually has voted for or against. And I am the antithesis of that. So beginning first and foremost with single payer, he has passionately rejected it and told his constituents in town halls that we were wrong because we did support it. That's one. I would never be so bold as to disrespect the voters that put me in office. Justice is not for sale act. It's about profits from prisons, like Gigi talked about. It's the one thing, at least 1 to 2 things that should never be profit is prisons and hospitals. Clean energy economy. He has voted to expand funding to the fossil fuel industry. He has voted against Social Security Expansion Act, the Family Medical Leave Act, ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, and the Wage Theft Prevention and Recovery Act. He actually is one of the Democrats that votes with Republicans quite often, and did so on this bill, HR 1873, which was corporate profits over people, which was a regressive bill, and it basically weakens environmental protection on public lands. So all of these things to say that you know, these are the types of things that we, regular, everyday people, care about. We get up every day, and these are the things that are a part of our daily lives, because most of us are not millionaires. And basically, one of the biggest differences is Representative Heck is, I think, the most wealthiest congressman on the Hill. You know, so being a part of the 1%, and I basically am an activist. I'm not a politician. I was arrested on the steps of the Capitol last year protesting Citizens United, which got us in this predicament in the first place. One of the things that I hear from all of us tonight. One of the common threads, whether we're running against each other or in completely different races, one of the common threads is that we all talk about the problem that we are in because of money in politics. Citizens United is that problem. And so I remember getting arrested, getting handcuffed literally at the steps of the Capitol, looking up into the windows of Congress and wondering in that moment, what would our country be like if the people who sat up there had the hearts of the people down here getting arrested for the principles of the people that put Congress in their seats. So I say that in closing, everybody, I commend all of you for coming to these roundtables, whether you are running in a local race, state race, or federal race. It's all about not and never giving up in regard to these progressive issues. I believe we will be the victor, whoever is elected, and I encourage you all to continue. And Tyler, thank you for providing this platform for all of us.
Thanks, Sam. Call it now so that there is time to actually, if you have questions for a candidate, corner them and find them and get them, volunteer on their campaign. Remember that some of these people are on the ballot right now. Thank you for coming. If you have questions for me, just come find me. And please take advantage of the fact that we got all these wonderful people here. And let's get all of y'all in the House of Representatives as soon as this lawsuit gets so thank you, Tyler. Thanks, Tyler.
Yes, we're wrapped. Tyler, oh, yes.
I forget my voice very because I get passionate.
Me too. I start quiet and then I start shouting.
Does anybody on here have any questions for any candidates? Oh, they left. Never mind. Oh no, Tyler's still there with his phone, but it's not working very well.
Well, Brian's on mute, but he mentioned he saw an interview I did. I was curious if anyone had any questions for me or if there's anyone else who'd just like to chat for a few minutes. I've got to run and help put a couple of kids to bed here, but will we have a minute?
Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I didn't have any questions. Sorry, I hit the unmute button, but I'm here. I've been listening. I got my girlfriend next to me. We were just chilling and watching everything. So.
All right, baby.
Good night. I love you.
I think that went well.
Yeah, I like that. My camera's not working right. The speaker thing, I think. Hold on.
It's always hard when it's, being live streamed in a big thing, but with Sarah's husband bringing the camera, that helped out a lot. Hey, Tambourine, do you have any questions for Jeremy?
There. I think my internet went out and then now it's back.
Mine did too.
I had a question though to Tambourine.
Yes.
If she's still there, are you still there, Tam? Do you also believe in banks being nonprofit? Yeah, see, my internet's going out.
Yeah, mine went out too for a minute. That was weird.
Hi, Brian. Did you say something?
Oh, there she is.
Okay, let me close down what I got in the background here. All right. Do you also believe in banks being nonprofit as well?
Yeah, actually, we have a senator here. Bob Hasagawa is creating a bill for a state-owned bank. I think that everything, including banks, banks, hospitals, prisons, nothing like that should be for profit. I mean, that, if you really look at it, look at who's really running everything. It's the banks for the sole purpose of profit. It really is the root. I don't think money is the root of all evil, but usury, usury and the way that the banks have applied that concept of usury is the root of all of our ills, most of them anyway.
I'm starting to actually not believe in the rules of capitalism so much anymore. The more I learn of how the whole prison industrial complex, military industrial complex, how it all ties together, agriculture industrial complex, that's a big one for me to know. And just to see how it's all one big complex against us,
Exactly. It really is. I believe it was Rothschild that said, "I care not who governs as long as I hold the purse strings."
Yep.
So that's telling.
Who was it that was talking about Obama? And
in regard to what?
That's him.
Say again?
There was somebody on here that was talking about Obama and how he's how people, I think it was Oz, how you got to deal with these people that totally believe in Obama and what he did and his message and his hope and blah, blah, blah. It was all bullshit. Yeah. It was all fed to you just to make you do that. Rah, rah, follow me.
Just to manipulate your emotions.
And the same thing, they tried to do it with Hillary and she's just too evil. So,
So Obama's his speaking pattern, his promise, his change, his optimism, that was real. It's just he didn't follow through with a single one of his.
He was a very well-spoken man. I will say that he inspired people.
I voted for him the first time for him. I voted for him the second time against his opponent holding my nose, and that was the last time I ever was willing to vote lesser of 2 years. That was it.
But see, that's the problem, and what's so disgusting about using inspiration for manipulation.
Yes.
Hope and change, and it's not just Obama. Obama is just a tool. Every other 4 years, masterfully orchestrated, to pull the heartstrings of those who are oppressed and suffering. And they are experts in knowing what to say to who and when to say it. So that's what we want to just totally obliterate. We just want to completely gut, the old way of doing politics and just really, it has to be done that way. It has to be, incremental change is death to our democracy.
Incremental change is a con. They give you a tiny little bit of possible movement with the threat that if you vote for me, you get this tiny little bit. If you don't vote for me, you get the enemy, you get nothing. It's a false choice between the two.
Exactly.
It's
Oz, I think, has something to say.
I have a question for Tam. You have a very interesting race, and you have some decisions that you may have already made on how you're going to campaign. I got to tell you, when you were giving your stump tonight, you went after Denny Heck on his record down the line, and there's a lot more to that. You're more aware of it than most of us. But I think people would call that negative campaigning, but I think that's probably how you need to go after Denny Heck, since he is a sitting representative. This guy has a record which is absolutely horrid. And you've got a monumental task because you're not running, you're running it onto the party of us. You're not a Justice Democrat, so on and so forth. I'm just saying, I hope that you will consider running a campaign on the issues and calling that guy out, because Tambourine, when you come back with saying what you're going to do for the people, it isn't a negative campaign. It's pointing out. And you do it very articulate, which a lot of the candidates I saw tonight did a pretty good job. A lot of them are new, but some of them need to work on that. But you got it ahead on them, And Jeremy, you did a great job too, of course. I'm not just restricting that to this group, but you get what I mean. And can you give me some feedback on my input?
Yeah, absolutely, Oz, and thank you for that. So, yes, I agree, and I'm not sure if you heard me say I usually don't like to, talk about my opponent in that way, but for the sake of the question of how we differ, it's inevitable. There's no other way, and you're correct. That is the only way that this campaign is going to win, because most of the people that I come across doorbelling, they have absolutely no idea how their representative is representing them. And I'm going to give you an example. I did a promotion, a Facebook post, kind of just a promotion where, it's an ad kind of thing, and just promoting the campaign, and with one simple quote, because I only had so many words, and all I said was, I believe in Medicare for all, debt-free education, and the expansion of Social Security. That's all I said. And do you know that 53% of all of the clicks that I got were 65 and older, which surprised us. It surprised us. And why, of course, is because I spoke about expanding Social Security. This guy not only cut that, but in 2014, cut food stamps to millions of children and mothers. So you're right. It is the only way that we're going to be able to get traction on this, because your average person is appalled. His voting record is a laundry list of atrocities, especially people who, pride themselves and think, oh, I'm going to vote for a Democrat, not a Republican. He votes with Republicans most of the time. So that's my feedback.
The thing we have to get across to people is there's no such thing as a Democrat or a Republican that represents the people. They talk to us about wedge issues, but when it comes down to it, they vote for the same large body interests that bought both sides. It's not a campaign contribution if you donate to the Democrat and the Republican, so you own the winner no matter who wins.
Exactly.
It's a good way to put it.
It is.
The major force against the more than a two-party system is that people who own both parties would have to bribe more people to own the winner. The parties don't want more people, because at some point you can't depend on blue no matter who and red no matter who voters. When I was running against Patty Murray, I had a couple of people who got in my face for their own semi-insane positions. I had a couple of death threats. But face-to-face, the two people who got the most militantly angry with me were both militant Patty Murray supporters. One who was enraged that I would even be willing to run against Patty. And I tried to keep calm, and I tried to ask her, okay, great, you like Patty Murray. Can you please tell me what it is about Patty that you really like? And she stammered and she stuttered and she said, well, she's always voted the way I would want her to vote. Okay. Do you know the last thing she voted on? Do you know anything that she's voted on in the last year? And the woman got mad at me and was preparing to throw things at me. She walked away to the organizer of the farmer's market that I was at and tried to get that person to physically evict me from the site, because there's no politics at the farmer's market.
That's pretty standard. There's not supposed to be politics inside the farmer's market, but you can stand on the sidewalk, as you know, and politic all day long. I appreciate that, Jeremy. I am so sorry you got the threats and the contempt from so many people, because we see that not only are we battling that within the Democratic Party, we're battling that from the other side. So we have fronts on, well, 3 sides. We've got 3 sides, I believe, maybe 4. But we've got to figure out a way, this group tonight, to unify their message. In my opinion, if the group of people tonight could unify their message, just tighten it up a little bit like you and Tambourine have here tonight. And I honestly didn't hear everybody because of the sound. But I think a unified message, and Tambourine, you really nailed it there with how you're approaching it. It's got to be short, sweet, and to the point. The only thing I might add is the other candidate is not for any of these things. If they tell you they are, make them prove it. That's the only thing I can say. But I appreciate the feedback. And Tam, when you get a chance, I'm feeling a little bit better. Let's have a chat, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to, Oz. And I would say this, just something you said made me think of it. You know, it's legal to lie in politics. So, you know, the dirty politicians, when they get dirty, they start lying if they can't find anything with an integral candidate. And so one of the things I am going to make sure I do is make sure that's publicly known. And on the tail end of exposing that, I'm going to say, but the one thing you can't lie about is someone's voting record. That's the truth, no matter which way you slice it. So, yeah. Guys, my fever is getting a little, I'm kind of dripping sweat over here, and I'm feeling a little fatigued, so I think I'm going to be nice to my body and get into bed and snuggle up and try to get well. And Oz, I really look forward to talking with you because you'd be a good sparring partner.
Do you see him? Oh, okay, yeah, I forget that when you can't see you, you can see him.
And Jeremy, nice to meet you, and good luck on your race. I hope to talk to you again. And Rhonda, always good to see you, my love.
You too, baby.
And we'll talk soon.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. I got to take off, put kids to bed. I'll talk to y'all later.
Night, Jeremy.
I got to get going.
Courtney, I just saw that you were back on here. You made it back, huh?
Just barely.
I think it was a good night. I think we're going to probably call for an actual meeting of not just Washington Bernicrats, but, you know, any kind of leaders out there here shortly so we can come up with a good game plan.
Are we going to do this kind of same format for the one coming up Tuesday?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, we're going to be using Zoom. I'm trying to get enough money to pay to buy into the streaming aspect of it so we can stream it. They would be seeing what we're seeing here or seeing the people talk. And I think people see people engaging, we get more people to engage.
I like that chat part, you know, while everybody's talking and be able to chat and, you know, get a little bit engaged and stuff. So at least
yeah, this has been my favorite so far. It works really well. It's very rare that we have any glitches.
I think on phone though, with the Zoom, it pops up in the video and it lets you know that there's a conversation going on. So I don't know if it streams up like how Facebook has theirs or how YouTube has it down on the bottom, you know. So I don't know if that's something that might be kind of weird for mobile users.
Oh, I'll have to look into that. Yeah.
Because that's how it was when I was doing it on the phone. It pops up in here, a little messenger, and it's kind of disruptive. So I don't know if it'll be anything, but
can you put it to the side if you don't want to see it? I used to do it on.
I think you can. It's just a little notification, and you can expand it if you want.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But when you click over to the chat, you totally lose video. Is a thing.
Right. That does suck. That aspect of it. On the computer it works great because it goes.
Yeah, because it's right here. I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So when it's on this, totally takes you off. It doesn't have like a split screen or nothing. You totally lose video while you're texting.
okay. That's great. But it's still the best I've seen out there.
It is, but it is going to be a drawback, I can tell.
Yeah, it probably will.
That's one of the great things about Facebook, and why that does so well is because you can chat and look at the video at the same time while you're,
Yeah.
So.
Well, they might be able to do that through Facebook. It's something that I want to try for sure. I'm trying to think when I was on one, what it did, live stream, how it looked. It's something to play with. Once Gigi said she'll go in it with me. I'll see.
It should be. Maybe there's just an interface change that you can do where it makes the video smaller up on top, and you have the chat box down on the bottom, and you can expand it if you want. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I need to get that forum going too.
I wonder if I can suggest that to them to try to change some of that.
I don't know. I got to get going though.
All right.
It needs my help.
Oh, it's great having you back in when you, Brian.
I'm trying.
No, I know you have a lot, going on, so we appreciate any time we get. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'm broke as hell is the main problem. That's honestly, it's just what it is. I'm just broke. If I could get out and do stuff, I totally would. But man, I don't have a job. I'm taking care of my little guys here. So once they're all in school, it'll be easier for me to escape for a few hours and be able to make some money. So.
Oh, well.
Got another 2 years he goes into school. Maybe we'll get him in the preschool, pre-K thing. We'll see. I don't know.
Right. Well, if it's more like some of those preschools are only like a few hours. So
yeah, but that's something though. I'd be able to, go out and get some sort of a part-time job if I need. Get some extra income. Any little bit helps right now, but
that's true.
It's harder, man. We're almost in an impossible situation. Like it's getting. So we'll see. We're trying to move, and hopefully we'll move to a better situation. But
I'll be rooting for you.
Yeah, I want to do more though. Wish I could do more.
I know. We know, and we just appreciate when you are able to. We really do.
Try to be a good admin, I guess. That's what I.
You have been doing great. Thank you for stepping in. I don't always get in there very often. I mean, I go and post a lot, but I don't always get a chance to go in and read things that are posted and reply. I've just got so much going on, so it's a big help.
Growing season's over for now, so.
Yeah.
I miss my garden, man. I was just telling that to Christina today. I was like, God, I miss my garden.
Did you do any
growing and picking my stuff? Huh?
Did you do any canning or anything?
Yeah, I did some pickles and some sauerkraut, and I've got some other methods I can just buy from the store and preserve that way if need be, but yeah, it's a lot. I did a lot of learning over the summer. It was fun.
That's good. Well, I'm glad. Well, you take care, and thank you so much. And yeah, go put those babies to bed.
Yep. Bye. See you later, guys.
All right. So yeah, I think I'll probably get out too then. I'll put a message in there, but I know that we're talking about meeting. We're thinking about Tuesday nights weekly. Tyler was looking at his schedule. Mine will be getting much better after a couple weeks. So my availability will be much better than it has been this past couple months. So, but we're looking at starting to do regular meetings again and really work on the ground game and yeah, same stuff that we always talk about. Oz. Expanding. I do need to make it up to your area. You're actually pretty close. You're like, what, a half an hour away maybe? So yeah, so once you're feeling better too and you know of a Saturday that might work. Oh, my Sundays will be opening up better again too. I can maybe even make it up on a weeknight now that I don't have to have late practices. So I might be able to make it up on one of those weeknights. I know that you have a harder time weeknights, but your partner in crime does better on weeknights, right?
Yeah, Pete does the weeknight thing. I go to support him. And again, the meeting we had with the whole, I think I did the whole Washington deal justice. I mean, everybody was on board, but there again, you know, they're all on board for it. I mean, we're preaching to the choir. It's how we get the message out. Again, you know, Tambourine wants some help with her campaign, whatever I can give. I don't know what I can give. And so does Sarah Smith. You know, I wish I could go full-blown research for both of them because, you know, Adam Smith isn't very smart, in my opinion. Denny Heck is pretty smart. So Tambourine really needs the resources more so, I think. But Adam Smith, if Sarah Smith can get in there and get a key demographic backing her and expand it, she could really kick Adam Smith's ass. But she's got to get into those damn Democrat meetings and get their heads out of their asses. And I don't know how she's going to do that because we've all faced that when we go, well, you know, Clark County Democrats and the rest.
Right.
Just like Jeremy was talking about. Oh, Patty Murray's, my God, how dare you run against her? These people are so stupid. It makes me sick to my stomach. That's the same problem I had in Whatcom County. There wasn't a brain between those people up there. And they're nice people, but they're naive. And I'm not the God's gift to knowledge. But Jesus Christ, Rhonda, come on. You know, look at the fucking record. Excuse my French. God, Rick Larson, are you kidding me? Susan
Well, they only care that it's a
Jesus.
D, and they don't care that it's corporate shit. You know, they only care it's a D. They think, you know, they're so scared of the R, or, you know, again, it's party freaking stupid politics. And like Jeremy was saying, you know, you ask them what have they voted on recently? What do they vote on that really is for you? And they can't really come up with anything. You know, it's just the scare tactics. You know, it comes down to the couple of policies that really screw us all up. It's just ridiculous. It just really is. I'm looking forward to learning more about this lawsuit, though, because if it goes through, it really will open up a whole bunch of seats. And if we keep, you know, pushing our progressives and keep getting behind them, and they get more notoriety, we could easily get a bunch of them, I think, into seats without, you know, having to go up against incumbents, because there won't be any in those new found seats. So I think our future,
I got to tell you, yeah.
Go ahead.
I agree with you, and all these avenues are great, and I hope that lawsuit yields fruit. I got to tell you, if I was running the show, I would go after the state party, Tina and Karen Deal and all of them with a passion. I would be hammering those guys so hard they couldn't see straight, because that's a target. You know, you have a base out here, but that's a fixed target, is the state party. And if you can get in there, because they're going to come in and try and screw the LDs, and a lot of the LDs are going to go along with them, and that's going to make it even harder. But I wish we could unify the progressive candidate.
Hey, so
you know, if we can unify the progressive,
raise $60. It's on its way to you via Dorothy Gasky. Oh, sorry, I didn't see there was somebody speaking.
Oh, it was odd. Sorry. Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh no, I didn't mean to butt in. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Go ahead.
I was just going to let you know we got $60 in the copper. It's on its way to you via Dorothy to pay for Zoom, so you can be reimbursed for some of the money you've been spending on that.
Oh wow!
I know. Gotta love it.
I think I'll use it to do the live thing and see how it goes for Tuesday. That's a good conversation. I was thinking about, you know, as we do this, we can live stream it.
Great. Yes.
What do you think? Or should we just use the 15 to do it? Okay.
I think that's. I mean, it's such an important conversation. I think that's a really wise idea.
And I think we can live stream a lot of these things. Start talking about the issues and bring it up there, and people look into live stuff more so than coming into a meeting like. So I think it'll really kind of push out. And then also we should look at doing some really good educational things on what you were just talking about the lawsuit, so people can really kind of understand that more and get more
do a whole series on that. And I mean, maybe we just keep this Tuesday night thing going. Thanks for coming. And maybe that's the next one. And maybe we push back this Tuesday night multi-platform thing to later, because that's huge. And I think we need a team on it.
I think so too. I think I think we should bring in Austin again, get him involved, because he'd be great at helping with narrating and all this stuff. So
yeah.
Cool.
How
was it there?
What's that?
How was it there?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's just such a pleasure to sit at the table with these people. It's awesome.
I know. I'm so bummed I didn't make it.
You made it. You're there doing. I mean, you made it happen. You guys, you brought more people to the table, practicing our hybrid style.
There we go.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Tyler.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll let you guys get back to it, and I'll be in touch.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. See ya.
Yay! See?
That's so cool about the Zoom payment.
Huh?
That's so cool that you get, money for expenses.
I know! I'm so happy!